Welcome to NACTV Reads the News. My name is Gwen Jacobsen, and I am one of many volunteers that help create programming for our station. NACTV can be seen on MTS Channel 30 or 1030, Westman Cable Channel 117, Bell Satellite Channel 592, or online at nactv.tv. These programs are made possible by our volunteers, staff, advertisers, as well as donations made by you, the viewers. If you are enjoying your NACTV experience, please consider supporting us by either donation or volunteering. You can contact our office at 204-476-2639 or at nactv@wcgwave.ca. This week's edition of the Neepawa Banner and Press is dated Friday, June 10th, 2022. On the front page, it's a very big article about Neepawa's new hospital, wondering if it is going to go right there, by Owen Devereaux. What could be viewed as a routine redesignation of farmland was anything but routine for the town of Neepawa. On Tuesday, June the 7th, Council approved a request to alter the designation for a large portion of land just east of Lyons Riverbend Campground. It will be changed from residential hold property to an institution development. Now, why is that important, you may ask? Well, it's because this change impacts just under 40 acres of land, the exact amount required by the province for the development of a new $127 million medical facility that was announced back in December. The new medical facility has an expected cost of at least $127 million and will be more than double the size of the current Neepawa Health Centre. It will feature at least 60 acute care inpatient beds, whereas the current facility only has 35. There will also be an expanded emergency department and more space for surgery, diagnostics, palliative care, and various outpatient services, including dialysis and chemotherapy. And it goes on to say, the resolution number 2022-134 related to the land was read, moved, and seconded at the Neepawa Town Council meeting on Tuesday, June 8th. It stated, be it resolved that we approve subdivision application 4437-22-8407 of Scatliff and Miller and Murray to subdivide a 39-acre parcel from the Southwest 34-14-15W, subject to the completion of a development plan amendment changing the land use designation from residential hold area to institutional area, the completion of a zoning bylaw amendment changing the zone from AR-R agricultural restricted zone to I, institutional zone. Also, the completion of a road opening bylaw to open a new public road that will provide primary and secondary access to the proposed subdivided parcel. Also, the meeting of all other requirements identified through the circulation process, and a development agreement with the town of Neepawa to premise the development of the parcel and any other matter deemed advisable to develop the property and complete the subdivision. Representatives with the town of Neepawa could not publicly comment on Tuesday night on the specifics of this resolution because a provincial embargo was in place related to a by-election in Thompson. Neepawa Mayor Blake McCutcheon was able to clarify with the Banner and Press later in the week, however, that the province, the town of Neepawa, and Capital Health planning teams are working with local landowners to establish a site for the new hospital. Technical due diligence is being completed and a detailed planning process is underway to confirm the availability and configuration of the site. When this process is complete and approval of the sale is final, more information will be available. The next steps in the ongoing process will include the publication of a notice of public hearing for a development plan amendment and the publication of a notice of public hearing to further the zoning bylaw amendment. Regardless of where the medical facility does or does not go, construction is slated to begin before the end of this year with a projected completion date of 2025. Oh, that's so exciting. For some, the worst isn't over. Despite the weather clearing up as of late across the region, there are still several portions of farmland that are dealing with major flooding. And here we have pictured the Steel Bridge area, located just northeast of Gladstone. It faced overland flooding. Some roads have been cut off. Sandbags are in place near several farmhouses, and cattle and equipment are dealing with the waters. So, not good. There's going to be a this is Filipino Heritage Month. Local Heritage, Seeds of Filipino Culture. On Saturday, June the 18th at 2022, there will be a parade that starts at 2 o'clock starting at the Yellowhead Center. The program starts at 3 o'clock, so come and celebrate with us. Let us fill your day with Filipino food, music, dance, and games. Bring your own lawn chair. The venue will be at Riverbend Park. The travel and entertainment section. Neepawa Tourism ready to reveal its mural project by Owen Devereaux. A new artistic endeavor hopes to bring more travelers and sightseers into downtown Neepawa. Neepawa Tourism has scheduled a mural showcase at Arts Forward for Saturday, June 11th. The event, set for 7 p.m. to 9 p.m., will unveil a pair of large murals that will later be placed on buildings throughout the town. The long-term hope is for this project to create a pair of murals each year and then place them in strategic locations across the community. These large works of art would spotlight specific history or connections related to Neepawa. As well, it would be used to attract tourists to the community. Tourism board member and artist Katie Martin developed this concept with art students in NACI. It involved the students painting the large murals themselves from pictures submitted to Neepawa Tourism by local photographers. Martin said that the Students and Tourism Board are very excited to share the end results with the community. She added, this is part of a much larger plan. This is work that the students have been working on for the past year. The first mural that we did at the beginning of the year was selected from a photo that had been submitted, and it is representative of our town. The kids replicated that photo. The second mural, the students themselves put together an art proposal. It's what they thought represented the town. We selected a piece that was the most interesting, but also appease everyone in the town. So the idea is that there is buy-in from both the students and the community. Our hope is that we'll have about 10 murals all around the town in the next 5 years, and that they'll be close enough together that we could start a mural walking tour. A new attraction for Neepawa, said Martin. The mural showcase is free for all to attend and will also feature live music and free auction. As for the unveiling of the murals themselves, that will take place at around the midway point of the festivities. Little Valley Jamboree returns to Erickson. Annual benefit concert celebrating 25 years by Kira Patterson. The Little Valley Jamboree will be back for the first time since 2019. Taking place June 18th and 19th at the Erickson Rec Center, the annual music event raises money for sick kids in the Westman area. It's 2 full days of music and entertainment for the kids, organizer Colleen Wojcicki said. We've got bouncy castle houses, different kids' activities, silent auction, and live auction. The weekend will feature about a dozen different musicians and bands running from 2 p.m. to midnight on the Saturday and from noon to 8 p.m. on the Sunday. Each year, the Jamboree benefits different children battling life-threatening illnesses. This year, there are 3 recipients. Kane Burgess and Wyatt Bouchard of Minnedosa and Matthew Maxwell of Boissevain are the recipients for the upcoming concert. Come out for a good time and support a good cause, expressed Wojcicki. About this year's kids is the following. Kane Burgess is an 8-year-old boy battling bone cancer. He started chemotherapy in February of this year and recently underwent surgery on his leg. His treatment is expected to continue into December. Kane is looking forward to getting home so he can play with Lego, do some crafting, building, and play with his family and friends. Wyatt Bouchard, also 8 years old, is dealing with stage 4 chronic kidney disease. He was diagnosed with renal dysplasia and bilateral vesicular reflux at only 2 months old and has been enduring appointments, procedures, and tests ever since. In 2020, it was also discovered that he had an artery that was closing and preventing blood flow to his head. He will need a stent placed in the artery at some point, and he is also waiting for the chance to get a kidney transplant. Wyatt loves biking, playing piano, skateboarding, and the outdoors. Matthew Maxwell was born 3.5 months premature in May of 2016. He spent his first 4 months of life in the hospital, attached to ventilators and drips and undergoing constant testing. Being on oxygen for so long created some problems with his eyesight and hearing, which are being closely monitored and corrected when possible. He and his family are regularly in contact with multiple specialists to keep an eye on his sight, hearing, speech, physical development, and more. Matthew just started kindergarten at the beginning of this school year, and he enjoys hockey, playing outside, reading books, and telling stories. The money raised through this year's Little Valley Jamboree will go to the families of these 3 boys to help with costs associated with their health complications. The Neepawa Banner and Press is pleased to announce that one of Manitoba's favorite weekly newspapers is now being distributed at 35 places around Brandon. The Neepawa Banner and Press is delivered on Fridays, and we are also pleased to announce that the circulation is very strong and climbing every week, so be sure to pick up your free copy of the Neepawa Banner and Press. What Happened to Norgate by the Banner staff. The Neepawa Banner and Press is requesting the assistance of its readers. On May 30th, a letter was received at the office asking just what happened to Norgate. The letter listed buildings, stores, and other landmarks that have disappeared alongside the community. It's gone, 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 and information detailing its story is scarce. It is the Banner and Press's desire to run a story or stories on the history of Norgate. If anyone has any photos of the community, old or new, please send a copy and any relevant details to us via email at newsroom@neepawapress.com. Below are some of the items we would like photos of, as well as additional information if listed. Camden Norgate School, number 807. The Dance Community Hall, where was it located? Tompkins Corner Store, Who owned it and how long was it in operation, and when did the building get removed? The local church. Norgate's community sign. Where was it located? When was it erected and removed? Norgate beef ring. When did it start up? When did it cease operation? The Norgate businesses, like Case Tractor Dealership, etc. The Norgate community itself. Why did it disappear, and when did it officially disappear? Any additional Norgate photographs and information are welcome. All photos and details gathered will supplement existing information from the 1987 McCreary Milestones and Memories history book, of which the Banner and Press owns a copy. The deadline for submissions is July the 1st, after which the Norgate history story will be published in the earliest possible edition of the paper. Out of Helen Drysdale's kitchen. This week it is titled The Van Girls. In 1920, the Van Girls were started up by British spinsters Eva Hazel and Iris Sales. In England, Miss Hazel had trained in church work, nursing, and first aid, and had driven an ambulance in World War I. After the war, she decided she would take Anglican church services and Sunday school lessons to the British homesteaders living on the Canadian prairies. Between 1900 and 1920, well over 1 million British people immigrated to Western Canada. She knew that many of them lived in remote communities that were not served by a church. At the age of 33, Eva used her inheritance, fundraised, and planned the excursion carefully. Modeled after the World War I ambulances, Eva had a custom caravan built and mounted on a Model T Ford chassis in Winnipeg. It was painted a blue-gray to better match for prairie dust and mud. Inside were 2 narrow folding cots, a small camp stove, cooking supplies, and a small table. As the van was being readied, she took a course on vehicle repairs. She and her helper, Winifred Ticehurst, took off from Winnipeg to Regina to begin their work. Their mission was to have lasted 4 months in the summer of 1920. It proved so popular with Anglicans and non-Anglicans alike that it continued on for 4 months every summer until the early 1970s. At the beginning, most of the girls were recruited from England, but later many came from Canada. The girls needed to be at least 25 years of age, dedicated Christians, and have a good reputation. Working in pairs, the driver had to take a course in mechanics, while the other would take charge of the teaching. They cooked their meals outside and washed their clothes in a stream or by a farmyard well. In their vans, they carried a small gramophone, Bibles, Sunday school lesson plans, and religious picture cards to be given away. They also brought with them clothes that had been collected for needy families. More vans were added, and the van girls went further west and north through the prairies. In remote areas, the van girls were the only church and often the only company many remote homesteader families saw for months at a time. Not only did they bring the word, but news from the outside world. Through muskeg, mud, up mountains, through bush, poor roads, no roads, and unmarked trails, these girls carried on. When the roads ran out, they walked to visit isolated families. Swarms of mosquitoes, black flies, no-see-ums, and wild animals did not deter them from their task at hand. In 1928, Eva and Iris went to the Peace River area, where they traveled 4,153 miles, 912 on foot, and 1,608 driving, and the remaining miles on horseback. These 2 women were undaunted and spiritually determined. The mission reached its peak between 1955 and 1959, with 31 vans and 62 workers working in 15 districts. From 1920 to 1970, Eva and all other van girls filled a need in reaching and teaching settlers hungry for spiritual support. As better roads, better cars, radios, and later television came along, they linked the isolated communities together. No longer was there a need for the van girls. In 1965, Eva received an honorary doctorate from the University of Saskatoon. In 1969, she received the Order of Canada for services to religious education as founders and organizers of the Sunday School Caravan Mission. Eva, Iris, and the rest of the van girls merit a place in the history of the West. As those dedicated ladies cooked outside on their camp stoves, today's recipe will be for outdoor cooking in admiration of their fortitude. And the two recipes are grilled chicken and vegetables on the barbecue and baked campfire bananas. Gently slice the banana with the skin on down the center lengthwise, half an inch deep. Do not cut too far in the banana. With tin foil, form a boat and place the banana sitting up with split upright. Add peanut butter, chocolate chips, and nuts into the banana split. Pinch the tin foil together to seal and bake 10 to 20 minutes, depending on your campfire and how high you place the bananas over the fire. Spruce Plains RCMP report by Corporal Jacob Stanton. During the week of May 30th to June 5th, Spruce Plains RCMP dealt with 28 police activities. On May 30th, RCMP responded to a report of trespassing in the municipality of Glenella, Lansdowne. After investigation, it was determined the report was a civil matter and the complaint was unfounded. Police received a report of a vehicle versus deer collision in Arden. The driver attended the hospital and fortunately sustained no major injuries. On May 31st, RCMP responded to a report of a fire at a business in Neepawa. Police and the fire department attended and determined there was no fire, just a compressor that had blown, which caused a smell of burning in the building. Police received a report of an individual failing to comply with a court order in Minnedosa. Police made patrols but could not locate the person. A warrant for arrest was issued for the suspect. On June 1st, RCMP received numerous reports of an individual disturbing the peace in Minnedosa. The individual was spoken to and warned for their behavior. On June 2nd, RCMP received a report of a break-and-enter to a residence in Minnedosa. The matter is still under investigation. Police responded to a report of assault in Minnedosa where two individuals were physically fighting. One person was detained and released to a family member. Both parties declined to proceed with charges. On June 3rd, RCMP responded to a report of threats being uttered in Gladstone. One person was arrested, charged, and released with a future court appearance. Police were dispatched to a two-vehicle motor collision in the RM of Rosedale. A semi-truck rear-ended a pickup truck that was making a left turn, causing significant damage to the truck and an AVT that the pickup truck was hauling. The semi-driver was issued a ticket and a serious offense notice. On June the 4th, RCMP received a report of a possible impaired driver in Neepawa. Patrols were made, but the suspect vehicle could not be located. Police responded to a report of a theft of truck in Neepawa. The truck was located, but after an investigation, it was determined that the truck was not stolen. It was just a case of seller's remorse. The report was deemed unfounded. On June 5th, RCMP responded to an abandoned 911 call in the RM of North Cypress Langford. Police attended and spoke to the homeowner who was having phone line issues. There was no cause for concern. Police were dispatched to a single vehicle rollover in the RM of Minto O'Donnell. The vehicle was abandoned, but the registered owner was located, who stated they lost control of the vehicle and went into the ditch. Both the driver and passenger declined medical attention. RCMP conducted 5 traffic enforcement actions during this reporting period. Please be advised that the Minnedosa detachment no longer has a functioning answering machine. We recently received a new phone system, and we will not have the ability to have the voicemail feature for the foreseeable future. We apologize for any inconvenience this may cause. Our office hours are Monday to Friday, 9 to 4:30. If you require immediate police assistance, please call 204-867-2751 or 911. If you have any other information about these crimes or any other crimes, please contact your local RCMP office or Crime Stoppers at 1-800-222-8477. We request that you contact each detachment at 204-476-7340 in Neepawa or 204-867-2916 in Minnedosa to inquire about criminal record checks or to file a report. Leave a message if needed and it will be checked the following business day. Do not leave a message if you require immediate police assistance. You must dial Neepawa 204-476-7338 or Minnedosa 204-867-2751 or 911 to have a police officer respond to you promptly. The Rural Outlook section. Beautiful Plains Museum now open by Charlotte Regalario. Hello everyone, my name is Charlotte Regalario and I am the museum curator at the Beautiful Plains Museum this summer. I am an upcoming 4th year student at University of Manitoba studying interior design, whose passion revolves around art, reading, and writing. The Beautiful Plains Museum started welcoming guests June the 1st, and it is located at 91 Hamilton Street in what was once our CN railway station. Our new hours of operation are Tuesday to Saturday from 9 a.m. till 5 p.m. With such diverse community and rich history, the Beautiful Plains Museum serves as a reminder of what Neepawa once was. After some renovation during the pandemic, the museum offers new and exciting sights that you want to see. There are our new photography and camera displays, as well as our improved Ukrainian Polish exhibition. The museum has 3 different levels that showcase the evolution of Neepawa throughout the years, as well as historical artifacts that give a glimpse past living. On the first floor is located our special military display, as well as our log cabin room and medical room. Downstairs, we showcase multiple tools and equipment used during the olden days. The lower level also has our Masonic room and sports room, which present the vibrant community existent within Neepawa. Lastly, the second floor has our children's room, military room, and wedding room. There is something for everyone in the museum, so we hope you would give us a visit. Neepawa is a town with so much to offer, evident from its history and diversity even through the years. I encourage you to visit the museum this summer and take the time to learn about history of Neepawa and its prairie neighborhood. We welcome visitors of any age, and this is a great place to educate the youth to learn more about the past. Even children would find the place entertaining, as there are fun activities for them to do during the tour. I hope you come out to see the Beautiful Plains Museum this summer and see what we have to offer. Admissions to the museum are by donations. For large group tours, contact the museum at 476-3896. Looking forward to seeing you soon. And here we have a picture of museum volunteers being honored in Gladstone. A special presentation was made on May 25th at the Gladstone and District Museum. A ceremony was held to recognize the dedicated efforts of longtime volunteers Ross and Joyce Foster. And here's a picture of them receiving a plaque from Board Chair Calvin Buchert to commemorate their support of the museum. NACI Metalworks programs receive support for upgrades by Kira Patterson. The Metalworks classroom at Neepawa Area Collegiate, or NACI, has seen some upgrades recently. The room is currently home to two programs, Metalwork Technology and Power Mechanics Technology, both of which will be benefiting from the new equipment that the school has been able to purchase this past year. Metalworks teacher Royce Hollier explained that they have received funding from the Beautiful Plains School Division, the Province of Manitoba, the Canadian Welding Bureau, and some local businesses and individuals. These grants and donations have made it possible to upgrade their equipment with over a dozen new items in the classroom. The Canadian Welding Bureau granted us $18,000 for welding equipment, PPE, and the province gave us a grant of $49,245 for a new milling machine and 2 new lathes, all with digital readouts and required tooling, stated Hollier. In turn, we were able to sell the old equipment for high values, and we reinvested the proceeds into more equipment and consumables for the shop. In addition to the equipment mentioned, NACI also acquired band saws, drill presses, a plasma cutter, a slip roller, a box folder, a box and pan brake, a foot shear, new lighting, improved ventilation, and much more. In total, over $100,000 has been spent on improvements within the shop. Ashton McGee, who's pictured here, is a grade 12 power mechanics student. He expressed his appreciation for the new equipment. It has been awesome, he stated, way better than the old equipment. Everything, down to the helmets, everything's just improved so much. It's a lot better and a lot safer. McGee noted that he's been in the class since his grade 10 year, and the skills he's learned while in power mechanics will help him a lot in the future. His plan for college next year include industrial metal fabrication, so NACI's metalworks courses have given him a head start on that path. It's a great opportunity for the school, and I encourage a lot of people to take this course, he expressed. Hollier added that he's been very grateful to the school division and administration for allowing these courses to continue and for supporting them. The students have benefited greatly, and in turn the community will profit with NACI students gaining modern metal working and tech skills going forth into their careers. This year's Power Mechanics program will be ending on a high note in June. The class is working on bar stool racers, which are similar to go-karts, which they will be racing at an event next week on the NACI grounds. We are having community judges along with a school-wide vote for a competition for the best racer based on several categories, explained Hollier. He expressed the school's appreciation for the community judges, which include Denver Dela Cruz of McLaughlin GM, Darcy Mitchler of Piston Ring, Mike Anderson of Performance Exhaust, and Michael Stadnick of NACI. The students have been creating these racers from scratch, from the frames to the chassis to the suspensions, etc. All their hard work will be recognized at this event. Hollier added that they are currently selling raffle tickets for a chance to win one of the bar stool racers. The draw for the raffle will take place on Tuesday, June 14th. All the money raised from the raffle will be going into the Metalworks program. Tickets can be purchased from any of the Power Mechanics students, from Royce Hollier, or from the NACI office. And here there is a picture of a couple of them. Well, that should be fun. So June 14th at 1 p.m. and the rain date is the next day, June 15th. Okay. Fun Day entertains Gladstone students. There was a day full of fun at Gladstone's William Morton Collegiate on June the 6th. That day kicked off the school's first annual Fun Day event in which both middle schoolers and high schoolers participated. Full of entertainment, the students enjoyed a game of baseball, tug-of-war challenges, bouncy castles and game stations, slip and sliding, cool treats, and go-kart time trials. Days like these were originally held in the past in order to showcase go-kart builds made by the senior industrial arts students. The event evolved as time went on, turning it into the spectacular event that took place for the first time this year. Here we can see every student couldn't help but get in to see the action up close, cheering and watching with a giddy demeanor each time a student got a plate full of pie dished out to them. Here we have students lined up to try their hand at some beanbag tossing in the inflatable entertainment section. And here we have go-kart time trials put on by grade 12 industrial arts class using student-made carts. They were a big part of the Fun Day. There were two different carts with the students taking turns at the wheel of each. In addition to the fun, it displayed the work the class was doing, and all the data will be used for a science class. Now we have the sports section. NACI hosts Zone 7 Track and Field Championship. Here we have lots of pictures of students working away at their individual activities. It was held May the 23rd. The day featured 9 schools from across the Westman region. Neepawa Area Collegiate ended up winning the combined men's and women's medal count for the day. NACI also claimed top spot for the female team scores with 210 total points, while Rivers Collegiate was the top school in the male team events with 169 points. The individual results from all the events can be located online at mywestman.ca. The 9 schools that participated were Neepawa, Gladstone, Carberry, McGregor, Rivers, Elton, Minnedosa, Erickson, and École La Source. All right, Neepawa Titans select 8 players in the MJHL draft. Okay, by Owen Devereaux. The Neepawa Titans have exited the 2022 MJHL Bantam Draft feeling optimistic about the level of talent they were able to assemble. The team added 8 new players by the draft over the weekend, selecting 4 forwards, 3 defensemen, and 1 goaltender. Those selected players included are: in round 1, 7th overall pick, Tyler Schell, a forward, and 14th overall pick, Nate Thompson, a forward. In round 3, 31st overall pick, Owen Wallace, a defenseman. Round 4, 45th overall, Steele Jowett, a forward. Round 5, 59th overall, Michael Sullivan, a defenseman. And 63rd overall, Casey Berry, a goaltender. And finally, round 6, 72nd overall, Tarek Lapointe, a forward. 78th overall, Jesse Brown, a defenseman. Prior to the draft, all 13 MJHL teams had the chance to auto-protect 2 local players or defer those selections for additional picks in the draft. The Titans chose to auto-protect defenseman Rylan Bray and Lincoln Murray, who both hail from Neepawa. Forward Merrick Miller of the Pembina Valley Hawks was selected by the Winkler Flyers with the first official player selection, though technically the second pick overall. The Winnipeg Freeze had the first pick of the 2022 draft, but were forced to pass on a selection due to failing to comply with Hockey Manitoba's COVID-19 protocols. Both the Freeze and Winnipeg Blues were penalized in this manner. On draft day, the Titans made one notable deal, trading their first-round pick, 3rd overall, to the Selkirk Steelers in exchange for a pair of draft selections. Those picks ultimately turned into forwards Tyler Schell, 7th overall, and Nate Robson, 14th overall. Titans general manager and head coach Ken Pearson said that he was comfortable making that deal because this year's draft featured such a solid pool of talent to choose from. It was a good draft in terms of the level of talented players that were available out there. There was a well-rounded group of prospects to choose from, so we had no reservations about moving down a little bit with the Selkirk trade, said Pearson. With Ty Schell and Nate Robson, we have a pair of players who really started to develop offensively last season. We've watched them improve over the course of the year and feel like these are players with good skills and character that you can build a solid team with in the future. Schell, who is from Shiloh, Manitoba, played at the Rink Hockey Academy last year. He had 28 points, 15 goals, 13 assists in 34 games for the RHA Nationals. Robson, meanwhile, played with the Southwest Cougars and had 33 points, 11 goals, 22 assists in 44 games. Another notable pickup for the Titans was Tarek Lapointe of Neepawa. The 16-year-old forward played last year with the NACI Tigers, as well as 7 games with the under-15 team, Yellowhead Chiefs. Pearson said the organization was happy to get Lapointe where they did, as he played very well at both the high school level as well as with his time with the Chiefs. He indicated that Tarek had the potential to be the late draft type of pick that other teams ultimately regret missing out on. Now to baseball. Neepawa Cubs fall to Carberry and have a win in Austin by Owen Devereaux. The Neepawa Cubs played a pair of games last week in the Santa Clara Baseball League. The first of these matchups was in Carberry on Wednesday, June 1st against the Royals. Neepawa would end up losing on this night by the score of 13-11. Dalen Creasy was credited with the win for Carberry in a 2/3 inning relief effort, while Neepawa's Garrett Rempel had to take the loss on a 6-inning, 5-strikeout performance. As for the plate, Nate Stevenson went 3 for 4 with a stolen base for the Cubs. Cody Pazawisti, meanwhile, was 2 for 4 with 4 RBIs. Neepawa followed up this disappointing result in Carberry with a better performance in Austin on Friday, June 3rd, winning 10-6. Stevenson once again had a huge effort at the plate, going 3 for 5 and a pair of RBIs. As well, Garrett Rempel was 2 for 4 with an RBI. Taylor Fletcher was the winning pitcher. After playing a home game to Ebb and Flow Lakers on Wednesday, June the 8th, the Cubs will next face the Portage Padres on Friday, June 10th. The final result was finalized after the publication deadline. The opening pitch is set for 7 p.m. at the fairgrounds. As of today, Neepawa is in 6th place, 6 out of 6. All right, the Carberry North Cypress Langford news by Gladwin Scott. First, Cougars Corner. Matthew Salin and Luke Robson have been selected as class valedictorians for the 2022 graduates on Monday, June 27th. Carberry track and field athletes excelled in Stonewall on Thursday, May 27th. Dylan Hood, a junior high jump, came in second. Junior triple jump first. Johnny Myers, senior triple jump, came in first. Carson Nakanekni, senior 400 meters, came in second. Nate Robson, junior 100 meters, came in second. 400 meters, he also came in second. Lexi Unrod, junior high jump, came in second, and junior long jump first. The Carberry Collegiate Bands performed in their first public concert in 3 years on June the 1st. Roses were presented to 5 graduating students: Andy Nicolaisen, Cadence Laverne, Matthew Salin, Ali Lavich, and Celia Baganis. Here and there. The Carberry swimming pool will be open for school classes to swim during the last 2 weeks of June. Regular swimming lessons will begin July the 4th. The pool will be open July the 1st, according to Cara Burney, the rec director. The Fireman's Breakfast will be held June 18th. A splash pad fundraiser social will be held in the curling rink June 17th at 8 p.m. In the Prairie Mountain Golf League, Carberry lost their first game in Glenborough and won the second match at home against Glenlee. In Santa Clara League action, the Royals edged the Neepawa Cubs 13-11 June the 1st. The pitching duties were shared by Zane McConnell, Ethan Bjornson, and Dalen Creasy. Carberry held leads of 9-2 and 11-6, but a series of errors allowed Neepawa to knot the game 11-11 in the top of the 6th. Russell Adrianson and Carter Beatty scored the winning runs in the bottom of the 6th. Zane McConnell hit a 2-run homer in the 5th. A bases-loaded double by Eric Truscott was another key blow for the Royals in the 4th inning. Garrett Rempel pitched for the Neepawa Cubs. The Royals game against Plumas on June 3rd was postponed as a number of the Plumas players were participating in high school provincials. In the MHSAA provincials, the Stonewall Rams defeated the Garden City Fighting Gophers 4-1 in the boys' baseball final, and in the girls' final, the Neelan Spartans defeated Boissevain / Wawanesa 4-1. Cameron McMillan, 2018 Carberry Collegiate graduate, was in Washington, D.C. for a week with the University of Manitoba BMED team, which is Biomedical Engineering Design, at the CMSC Annual Design for Rehabilitation competition. Their project was to design an assistive device to help a client in a wheelchair go grocery shopping on his own, and it can also be used around the house for other tasks. Not only did their device win the competition, but they were also able to fit in some sightseeing in Washington, like visiting Lake Memorial, the Washington Monument, and the Smithsonian Institution. Jessica Walker, a Carberry graduate who has been studying and playing hockey at Minot State University, has returned home for the summer to work for the town of Carberry. And Jostin North, age 16, a Carberry grade 10 student, flew to Halifax May the 30th with Team Canada to participate in the Youth Pan Am Games. He is one of the 5-member cadet under 18 archery squad which competed in the games May 31st to June the 7th. And finally, Manitoba Baseball Hall of Fame news. Two teams that were well represented at the 25th Manitoba Baseball Hall of Fame banquet in Morden, Saturday, June the 4th, were the Cardale Cougars Bantam/Midget/Bisons team from 1971 to 75, and the Carmen Goldeyes Midgets team from 1994 to 95, and the Carmen Goldeyes Juniors, 1995 to 2000. Thanks to the leadership of Jocelyn Beaver of Rivers, 48 Cardale players and supporters attended the Winnipeg Goldeyes Lincoln Salt Dogs game, Sunday, June the 5th. Jerry Falk, Manitoba Baseball Hall of Famer from 2005, and the Carmen Goldeyes player coach recruited 90 players and supporters to attend the banquet. Several of the 13 original founders of the Manitoba Baseball Hall of Fame were recognized, as was Joe Witchar, museum curator for the past quarter century. Due to COVID-19, the banquets were postponed in 2020 and 2021. Blaine Fortin of Lundar, who received Manitoba and Canada Youth Baseball Player of the Year awards prior to being drafted by the Toronto Blue Jays, was inducted into the Manitoba Baseball Hall of Fame on Saturday, June the 4th. He had 59 young baseball players at his clinic in Holland on Sunday, May the 15th. Blaine also played with the Balder Regals in the MSBL for 2 seasons. All right. Calabarzon claim volleyball crown by Owen Devereaux. Team Calabarzon swept through the competition to claim top spot in a regional volleyball tournament recently held in Neepawa. The team was one of 8 competing in the Filipino Heritage Volleyball League, which was the NACI gymnasium on Saturday, June the 4th. In the opening round, Calabarzon were able to defeat BBAC in straight sets, 25-16 and 25-14. Next, they would challenge BizDAC in the semifinal and come away with a 25-12 win. For the championship game, it would be Calabarzon versus Waray, who made it to the final by beating NCR and Ilocano. In this final game, Calabarzon once again swept through with a straight victory set, winning 25-12 and 25-16. The most valuable player of the tournament was B. Sofia Flores. The event was organized by Rafael Flores, Lenima Perez, and Van Alfwang. Congratulations to all the teams and organizers for taking part in and staging this extremely successful event. Now here we have some pictures of the concert that the NACI choir students performed at the Roxy Theatre. The Neepawa Area Collegiate Chorale, pictured here, directed by choir teacher Blair Chapman, held their year-end concert entitled Rise Up Singing on June the 1st at the Roxy Theatre. And here we have grade 12 students Maddie Moore, Grace Ferguson, and Kendall McCracken singing as a trio for part of the final song of the night. And here we have the NACI Jazz Band, directed by John Hodge, was one of the guest features at the concert. Neepawa Middle School's grade 8 band, led by Galen McDermott, also performed as 4 smaller ensembles. Right there. High Life brings home the bacon for Neepawa Chamber. And here we have another picture to show you. High Life made a significant donation to the Neepawa and District Chamber of Commerce on Monday, June the 6th. The check for $4,535.65 was from the proceeds of High Life's food truck that was at the Chamber Fair in Neepawa from May 27th to 29th. Tyler Lazaruk, Executive Director of Sales and Business Optimization for High Life, stated, "It was an honor to be part of such a successful community-minded event. High Life values our partnership with Neepawa and always seeks genuine ways to make a real impact. More than 30 High Life employees volunteered their time at the Chamber Fair, and our food truck team was on hand to serve up premium pork. We are pleased to give back more than $4,500 raised through food sales to the Neepawa Chamber of Commerce. We know this donation will directly support our local community and initiatives that matter." Pictured above are Jennifer Weeb, the Chamber Office Administrator, Sherry Francis, the Chamber Board Member, Tyler Lazaruk, Executive Director of Sales and Business Optimization, Deborah Kaspick, High Life Office Manager, and Jeff Descender, the Chamber Board Member. Okay, we read that already. Royal celebration fills Gladstone's streets and skies. The community of Gladstone came together for a town-wide celebration of Queen Elizabeth's Platinum Jubilee, which is 70 years on the British throne. They celebrated on Saturday, June the 4th. The Gladstone Legion organized a flyover of a World War II plane. A helicopter also soared over the town. They also hosted a barbecue, kids' activities, a meat draw, and more. The Legion also raffled off a chance to win a flight in a World War II plane. All the money raised through the event was split between the Brandon Air Commonwealth Museum and the Gladstone Legion. A royalty parade also took place on June the 4th on the streets of Gladstone, inviting kids to dress up like princesses and show off their dapper attire to all in attendance. Right, go back here. Homebodies by Rita Friesen, and hers is entitled New Skills this week. Never have I aspired to be a mechanic nor a mechanic's assistant. If any trade would have appealed to me, it would have been carpentry. Anything electrical scares me silly. Not overly keen on housekeeping and allergic to cooking. But this month, I have learned how to follow instructions and assist in cleaning the carburetor of a Honda generator. There is a lovely, seldom used unit in the back garage, and the last time we had storm warning, we decided to see if it worked, but it didn't. Gordon puttered at it, trying this and that with a few positive results. In a phone call with a handy friend, Wade suggested that we remove the carb and clean it up. Don't be afraid to plunge it in soapy boiling water. It's probably gummed up from sitting. He didn't say that it would take the fingers of a nimble monkey to remove such a carb, but remove it we did, and it looked a little gummy. Carefully carrying the thing inside, taking note of the little pointy do thingy, I carefully washed it in hot soapy water using an old toothbrush to get in the cracks and crannies. It's made of plastic, for goodness sake, not trying that boiling water gig on my watch. The hot bath, followed by a vinegar rinse, which was my idea, seemed to clean it up nicely. The trick was now to reinstall it. Oh, and craft a replacement gadget. Another first for me. Under supervision, I found the correct weight of paper, the back of a birthday card. Carefully traced the pattern from metal plate with the outline fairly distinct and proceeded to carefully cut the minute gasket. Not minute in the gasket world, but in my world. 2 perforations were required for the outlets, and finding an old leather punch, dialed in the correct number and attained that goal. To be fair, I was not present for the dismantling, but willing to help with the mantling. Again, nuts and bolts in hidden corners, angles just out of sight and reach, but I did it. Got it all correctly aligned, and the nuts started. And the choke did not respond to choking. I tried taking everything apart. We became aware that a slight wire needed to be hooked into an aperture on a plastic flap. Who in goodness sake thought that up? I am not given to foul language, thankfully. On more than one occasion, I sat down, drew a deep breath and a short laugh, and set back to work. All was again aligned, and again this choke did not choke. Well, grabbing the manual, I searched for a picture of the area of concern, and cable 1 should be tucked under cable 2, not over. So dismantle, remantle. It was getting easier with every practice round. Wade had also instructed us to put a bit of gas in a spray bottle and direct a stream at the carb when attempting to start the picture, or the generator. Ready and willing, Gordon sprayed while I pulled the starter cord and pulled, and then finally, victory. The engine caught and stayed caught. A bruised knuckle, a little skin off of a finger, but we won. A new skill that still doesn't wish to be a mechanic's assistant. Right in the Center by Ken Waddell. A disclaimer, he says, the views expressed in this column are the writer's personal views and are not to be taken as being the view of the banner and press staff. With over 1,700 of my columns having now gone to print, I thought maybe it's time to list some of the things I don't agree with. Some will come as a surprise to readers, others perhaps not so much. As you read the list, if you choose to do so, rest assured you don't have to agree with me. Even more importantly, whether it be trivial stuff or big issues, we must always remember that while we may disagree, we don't have to be disagreeable. That's the biggest problem we have today in families, in communities, and in the world in general. It is so sad that if we don't agree, we are somehow compelled to hate the person who disagrees with us. Let's start with the trivial stuff. I am not a big fan of the now stylish ripped jeans. Sorry, I just don't like them. I know my long departed mother would not have liked them either. She hated sending her kids to school with holes in their clothes. I don't like the man bun hairstyle. Not a huge deal. I just think they look silly. If people like them, that's up to them. Boiled cabbage, not my favorite for sure. A lot of times I have eaten cabbage that boiled dry and was scorched. Nasty flavor. That burnt cabbage, I tell ya. Overcooked eggs sure aren't my first choice for breakfast. Okay, you get the picture, but enough about fashion and food. There are many more serious issues in life, and as my list goes on, some readers' sense of humor and patience may wear thin. I don't like or believe in capital punishment. I believe that people who commit murder should be put in jail for a long, long time, perhaps forever. When a person's life ends, even a murderer's life should be up to God. The 10 Commandments clearly say, "Thou shalt not kill." Jesus' new covenant says to love one another. It's pretty hard to reconcile killing people, even a murderer, and say that we love one another. Some people won't go to war, and I respect that. I believe war is only justifiable to deal with aggressor nations. I think Russia deserves everything it gets for invading Ukraine. I think the United States should not have gone into some of their wars. Without revisiting history, let's just say that when a country invades another sovereign country, that's wrong, and I must be met with force. I think Russia is wrong this time. There never should be unprovoked aggression by one country against another. I think that abortion should be avoided as much as absolutely possible. Many don't agree. I also think that the definition of marriage has become very distorted. Many don't agree with that either. There has never been agreement on all issues and never will be this side of heaven. Perhaps my opinions are correct, perhaps they are not, but I do know this with certainty: God has all the correct answers. Not Christians, not Jews, not Muslims, not Buddhists, not faith groups or their respective organizations, only God. We are to keep learning, keep trying, and as we go along, above all else, we are to love one another. Please do that and keep on sorting out your opinions and beliefs. Disagree if you wish, but don't be disagreeable. And lastly, Constructive Criticism, Part 1, Faithfully Yours by Neil Stoshine. In his lecture on the price of leadership, the late Charles E. Jones noted that political, community, and religious leaders must constantly deal with critics who will use every opportunity they get to demean, demoralize, discredit, and destroy them. Jones defines a critic as someone doing nothing who always knows how to do better than you do what you are trying to do. Such critics can be found on every street corner, in every coffee shop, business office, service club, and church in our country. They are very good at diagnosing problems, but very poor at offering creative solutions to them. An equally destructive type of criticism can come from the leaders themselves. I will be the first to admit that at times during the past 2 years, I have found the conduct of our political leaders, especially at the federal level, to be downright disgusting. There's no excuse for the mockery, ridicule, or name-calling to which some Canadians have been subjected simply because they dared to voice their opposition to government measures which they felt were an infringement on their rights and privileges under the law. Nor is there any excuse for the mockery, ridicule, or name-calling that some private citizens have directed at the political leaders who enacted these measures and the ordinary Canadians who chose to support and abide by them. Trading insults never solves anything. All it does is build more high barriers between people. Those barriers block the path to the meaningful dialogue this country desperately needs. In a free and democratic society, which Canada claims to be, there will always be differences of opinion. No two people are exactly alike. Our family backgrounds are different. We carried the political, social, economic, moral, and religious values to which we were exposed in our formative years into adulthood. Our life experiences tested these values. Some were rejected altogether, some were modified. But over time, we each developed our own set of values, and those values helped us form our own unique views on the many issues facing today's Canadian society. Those who govern a healthy society welcome the different views of their fellow citizens and give them the freedom to express those views in open debate. In doing so, they build bridges of communication between different people and create an atmosphere in which meaningful dialogue can produce permanent solutions to persistent problems. In an ideal world, every society would embrace this freedom of conscience and give its citizens the privileges that come with it. But our world is not ideal. In some countries, those who dare to think an independent thought or utter a word of criticism against either the government or the state religion can be arrested, imprisoned, or in extreme cases put to death. Other countries use intimidation and threats to suppress dissenters and their views. They prohibit meaningful dialogue and deprive governing bodies of the insights they need to make wise decisions on behalf of their people. We haven't come to that point in Canada yet. My hope and prayer is that we never will. As Canadians, we can help build a world in which all people are treated with dignity and respect, a world in which dissenting opinions are treated with respect, a world in which citizens are free to constructively criticize those in power, and a world in which the powerful listen and take advice from the views of all citizens. Building this world won't be easy, but it can be done. How? Well, we'll talk about that starting next week. So that is it for this week's edition of the Neepawa Banner and Press. Thank you for joining us, and hopefully we'll see you next week. So bye for now.